28 to 11. Richard, hi, good evening.
Hi there. Yeah, I'd just like to send my love and support out to all the occupants occupying land around New Zealand and further out across the world.
Your love and support.
Yeah.
Right. Why are you supporting them? What's your take on this?
Well, I just think that any kind of movement that is working towards the equality of resource access, is a beautiful thing. I think we need a redistribution of the world's resources, and we need to focus on what is essential to a human being's life. We've got the psychological things like dignity and self-respect.
When you say redistribution of resources, what are you talking about here? Are you talking about
food, food, clothing, shelter, healthcare, education.
That we should all have the same amount, or we should all have
we should have the appropriate amount.
Right.
We shouldn't have some people starving and then food mountains going to waste because it doesn't fit in with the pattern of economic distribution that we've created, which doesn't work.
Are you talking about this? Are you talking about this in Western society? You're also talking about it for famine areas like Africa, the Horn of Africa.
Well, I'm including the famine areas when I talk about starving, of course.
Right.
But
what about the hunger?
No one should be going to bed hungry as they do in some countries.
Well, what about in New Zealand? What about in New Zealand? Hang on. What about in New Zealand where kids go to school with no lunch? Do you believe that? Is that an urban myth, or is that true?
I'm not sure. I'm sure if it's true, then some people know it's true, and it is what it is. And I'm sure those people will be appreciating everybody's support. I just give my thanks to those who are donating food to the occupants so that they can represent their views as well, because not everybody can go down there and do what they're doing. But there's a lot of people donating food and support in other ways to encourage those people to keep doing what they're doing.
Okay, I thank you very much. Text messages just before the break, and then we'll be back with into some more calls, and keep them coming. YouTube Occupy, there are over 100,000 videos about this movement. Many occupiers are business owners, myself included, right? A trespass order can be issued by anyone for property they own. The land is public land. There is the problem. This is not a court order, it is the law. The guy saying about what the taxpayers and ratepayers, I paid 80k tax and 5k rates last year. The protest is legal under the Bill of Rights. And did I hear someone say communists are behind these protesters against capitalism? Simple answer, they can emigrate to a country of their choice. That is from Bruce. Righto, News Talk ZB, how are you tonight? 0800 80 1080 is the number. The protests, the Occupy protest, particularly the Dunedin one, but they're in Christchurch, Wellington and Auckland and maybe elsewhere. Didn't they have someone in Invercargill? I'm not sure what the situation is there, but certainly in Dunedin, a trespass order has been issued, but police are refusing to, well, they're not refusing, well, they are in a way, they won't evict them, but they're thinking about it. And some people tonight have said, get in there and do your job. What is the police job here? Is it to try to negotiate a peaceful way out, or to drag them kicking and screaming and bucking? Shay, hi.
Yes, hello mate, how are you doing?
I'm good.
Great. I just rang up to voice my support for Occupy Worldwide. Basically, I'm a worker in Christchurch. Every day I go to work, and every day I drive past the campsite and see these people parked out in their tents, pretty much to voice their opinions and to hopefully wake up the public to the fact that our voice is strong. And if we sit at home being complacent, doing nothing, then nothing will happen. I believe that this movement that's happening worldwide is probably the most beautifulest movement that I've seen happen, It's the first time where people are saying we care about people instead of saying we care about ourselves.
Oh, there have been movements like this before. There was the hippie movement in the States. That was all peace and love and that sort of thing, wasn't it?
It was, but still it was about themselves. It wasn't about the world.
Yes, it was about taking care of themselves and their drug habits, and you're saying this is about caring about...
This is about people caring for people.
Right.
This is about saying that last year 150 people in New Zealand made an estimated wealth of $7 billion. And I don't think that while our wages stay the same and the cost of living go up, that it's just that 150 people, the top 150 people in New Zealand, could make this much money.
Well, it might come down to the government needing to boost up the minimum wage.
Definitely. I mean, that would be a big help to help people, but do you really see that happening? This year the minimum wage went up by 50 cents.
Labor have promised to put it up to 15. So everybody's got to, therefore, the logical conclusion to that would be everybody in the Occupy movement would be voting Labor.
Well, I hope that most people do vote Labor.
You see,
because National's not doing much.
The thing is, the Occupy movement must realise that they probably do. The corporate fat cats that pay the lousy wages are the kind of outfits that New Zealanders line up at every day. Every day, thousands of New Zealanders go to McDonald's.
Indeed.
They are regarded as not paying... They would pay the minimum wage, wouldn't they?
We are the 99% versus 1% that control 40% of the world's wealth. And this is what we're trying to say to the rest of the world, is that the majority have the power to cause the minority of that 1% to do something different. Because for me, I've decided to come down to the Occupy in New Zealand because I'm sick at home. I'm sick of staying at home, watching this, talking to my friends, and see no action or nothing happening.
Well, can I tell you what, Shay, and I thank you for your call, and this is your conviction, and I applaud you for it, and that's fine. Maybe the Occupy New Zealand people are to be applauded because we always say New Zealanders don't protest, they're apathetic, they're like sheep. Here are some people who are protesting. Against what? Some people are unclear, but at least they're making their voices heard and exercising their right to protest. It's just not... It's against corruption, it's against the gap between rich and poor, it's against corporate greed. What is it against? Capitalism? I don't know. But some New Zealanders will be against it because it's not about something more specific and closer to home and dear to their hearts. That's what it's not about. Yes, Talk CB, it's 0800 80 1080. What I mean is the protest is quite general: corporate greed, gap between rich and poor, corruption. If it was, and therefore it goes over a lot of people's heads in a way, and they think, oh, yeah, a bunch of rowdies. But if it was a specific protest, for instance, against the high power prices that are extracted from us, something specific like that, there would be people. I'm sure people would say, right on, go for it. TC, hi.
Hi. I would just like to say that I am 25 years old from Orlando, Florida, the United States. And I stand in solidarity with countless other individuals in over 2,500 cities across the world in a global movement called Occupy. I would also like to point out that we're not freedom camping or anything. We are occupying the space. We are protesting.
Whereabouts are you?
I am currently in Christchurch at the Christchurch Occupy at Hagley Park. And I had also spent a week down in Dunedin.
Are you a professional occupant? You're moving around from protest to protest.
I actually have decided to start doing that very recently.
Yes.
I was also doing a lot of wolfing around New Zealand. This is my working holiday, so I am trying to holiday as much as possible.
So if you were back in the United States, is there a similar Occupy thing in your hometown?
Yes, Orlando, Florida, there has been. Along the East Coast, there are countless ones I could be involved in.
Mm. And you just happened to be in New Zealand when they erupted?
Yes, I landed in Auckland in July, so I've been here most of the time.
Yeah. Do you think that anybody's listening?
I think a lot of people are listening. I've been talking to a lot of the general public in both cities I've visited and countless other people on Facebook and on other websites that they definitely are hearing, and they definitely got their concerns. And there's things just as very specific to each city. And not being a citizen of the town, I don't know all the details, but there's lots of people with very specific goals that they would like changed, just as much as global movements.
So this is a protest about collective desires or individual desires. It sounds more like
yes, both.
Both.
Yes, there's a lot of the thing about the solidarity movement as a world or global movement is the fact that yes, there are things just very simple, freedom of speech, freedom to be yourself, freedom to protest, that you feel that you're not being treated fairly. It is a global movement towards humanity and towards fairness and equality. But there's also countless specific details. Like I said, I don't know a lot about all the details, but there's a lot of people who want minimum wage raised in New Zealand. There's a lot of people that simply want better working conditions in their factories.
In other words, it's a venue, it's an arena in which people can voice their discontent about a variety of issues, but it seems to me that the issues all have something in common and they come together in the end collectively.
Correct. Each of the movements I've seen, and from what I can hear around the world, there's open mics or open conversations that can be had between the public can just show up and just get involved just for a few minutes or for a few days or whatnot.
Do you think the SIS might be listening?
I hope everyone's listening.
Okay, thank you, TC. Well, I mean, the SIS might be monitoring to see who's subversive. Standing up for what you believe in, the Occupy protests aren't necessarily always about what you think they are. Occupy protests in Washington may not be for the same thing as Occupy in Christchurch or in Dunedin is about. And there may be Occupy protesters in the same tent as you who are about a particular subject, and others in the same tent might have another argument that they're trying to promote. So it's a place in the sun for your particular cause. Whatever that might be, it seems to me that's what the Occupy movement is, although generally we're associating it with corporate greed, corruption, and the growing gap between rich and poor. So where do you stand on this? Because in Dunedin, police have failed to act on a trespass order that's been issued. They haven't acted so far. So some people are saying, get in their boots and all and kick them out. Others are saying, no, more talking needs to be done. And others are saying there's no way they should be moved. They are entitled to protest. Hi, Aaron.
Hello.
Good evening.
Hi, I'm Aaron. I'm in Christchurch right now. I'm working, current worker. I work shift work, and any time that I'm available, I'm always down at the Christchurch movement helping out any way I can.
And what are you doing when you go down there?
Really helping any way we can. We try to get outreach and try to hand out flyers. We have certain logistical things we look after. We put those through working groups like media and legal and things like this. And we have general assemblies and try to get past things that are important to the group.
Right, so you're keeping working and you're a supporter of the Occupy people there. What are you supporting? What do you believe this is all about?
Well, if I can quote Margaret Mead really quick, she said that never doubt that a small group of thoughtful, committed citizens can change the world. Indeed, it's the only thing that ever has. And we're all here because we realize that there's issues that haven't been met, issues that people all have. And they all come down to the basic, fundamental thing that is humanity. That we haven't, in the name of progress, we've promoted science and economy and bureaucracy, but humanity has been left out of this equation. And that we need people before profit.
And when you say people before profits, and when you say humanity has been left out of the equation, humanity's never had it so good, has it, in terms of health, in terms of welfare, in terms of employment, in terms of a longer life, in terms of quality of life, equal employment, equal opportunity, the end of segregation? What do you want?
Human beings are learners, and, we've had our rough patches, and we continue to have rough patches, but I believe that I am hopeful and know that we can progress and we can get better at all of these things.
So we're not good enough at them yet?
No, of course not. There's always room for improvement. Okay,
thank you, Aaron, but non-specific, but helping out. Thank